Hello, and welcome to Light Inside Light, where stories shine with the love of Jesus. I'm so glad you're here today. Get ready for a fun, faith-filled adventure full of God's truth, kindness, and joy. Whether it's a Bible story, a worship song, or a lesson of love, this is a place where God's light lives inside every heart. Are you ready? Let's jump in and grow together in God's love.
Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village near the sea, there lived a man named Jonah. He was kind, helpful, and loved by everyone. One sunny morning, Jonah was walking through the village, greeting people with a smile. He stopped to give food to a poor man sitting by the road, then headed to the farm to pick some fresh fruit. As he filled his basket, he suddenly heard a voice, strong and gentle at the same time. It was God speaking. Jonah, God said, go to the great city of Nineveh. The people there are doing very bad things. Tell them to stop and turn back to me. But Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh. He knew the people there were mean and disobedient. They won't listen, he thought, why should I go? So instead of obeying, Jonah ran home, quickly packed his bag, grabbed some food and water, and rushed out the door. Some of his friends were outside. Jonah, are you sure about this? They asked. Maybe you should do what God says. But Jonah didn't listen. He ran to the harbor and found a ship going to a faraway place called Tarshish, the exact opposite direction of Nineveh. He climbed aboard and tried to hide from God. While the ship was sailing across the sea, a terrible storm rolled in. The sky turned dark, the waves grew huge, and the wind howled. The ship rocked back and forth so hard that the sailors became afraid for their lives. The captain cried out, "Pray to your gods. Maybe one of them will save us." The sailors began tossing their belongings into the sea to make the boat lighter. But Jonah, he was fast asleep down below. The sailors rushed down and woke him. "Get up, help us, we're all going to drown." Jonah opened his eyes slowly and said, "It's my fault, I ran away from God. If you throw me into the sea, the storm will stop." At first they didn't want to, but the storm got worse. So trembling, the sailors picked up Jonah and threw him into the sea. As soon as Jonah hit the water, the storm stopped. The waves calmed. The wind went still. But before Jonah could swim, something incredible happened. A huge fish, some say a whale, came up from the deep and swallowed him whole. Inside the belly of the fish, it was dark, wet, and smelly. Jonah sat there for 3 days and 3 nights. During that time, Jonah prayed and prayed. "God," he said, "I'm so sorry, I was wrong. If you give me another chance, I promise to obey. I will go where you send me." God heard Jonah's prayer, and on the 3rd day the big fish swam to the shore and spit Jonah out onto the beach. Jonah landed in the sand covered in seaweed, but smiling he was alive and he had a new heart. This time when God said, "Jonah, go to Nineveh," Jonah stood up and said, "Yes, Lord, I will go." Jonah walked to Nineveh. When he arrived, he saw just how bad things were. People were stealing, shouting, fighting, and doing things that made God very sad. Jonah stood in the middle of the city and shouted, "God says stop doing wrong, repent and change your ways, or he will destroy this city in 40 days. The people were shocked, but they listened. They stopped their bad behavior, prayed and said sorry to God. Even the king took off his royal robe, sat in ashes, and told everyone in the city to fast and repent. And because they turned from their wicked ways, God forgave them. Jonah sat outside the city waiting to see what would happen. sun. The sun was hot, and Jonah grew tired. So God made a big leafy plant grow next to him, and it gave him shade. Jonah felt happy and thankful, but the next morning God sent a worm, and it ate the plant. The sun rose again, and Jonah was hot, tired, and angry. God, he said, why did you take away the plant? Then God spoke gently to him, Jonah, you care so much about this little plant, but you didn't make it grow. Shouldn't I care about the people of Nineveh and Neh? There are more than 120,000 people there, and they didn't even know right from wrong. Jonah sat in silence, and in that moment he understood something important. God's love is big enough for everyone. He gives second chances to Jonah, to Nineveh, and to all of us. From that day on, Jonah never forgot that God is merciful, loving, and always ready to forgive those who turn back to him.